Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share a story with you. It's not about a person, but about a tiny creature with a surprisingly big heart and an even bigger personality. This is the story of Pip, a little hamster who taught me some of the biggest lessons in life. Our story begins in a bustling pet store, filled with the sounds of chirping birds and playful puppies. Tucked away in a small corner was a glass enclosure, home to a dozen tiny, fluffy hamsters. Among them was Pip. While his siblings were busy wrestling or running on a wheel, Pip was a little observer. He'd sit in a corner, his tiny nose twitching, watching the world go by with wide, curious eyes. He seemed to carry a gentle, thoughtful spirit right from the very beginning. One sunny afternoon, I walked into that store, not planning on bringing anyone home. But then I saw him. Our eyes met, and in that moment, something clicked. It was as if this tiny ball of fur was waiting just for me. I knew I couldn't leave him behind. So, Pip came home with me, nestled safely in a small cardboard box, ready to start his new life. Pip's new home was a palace compared to the pet store. It was a spacious cage filled with soft bedding, tunnels to explore, and a wheel for his nightly adventures. At first, he was timid. He'd spend most of his time hidden in his little house, only peeking out when he thought no one was watching. I'd sit by his cage, talking to him in a soft voice, offering him tiny pieces of sunflower seeds. Slowly, very slowly, he started to trust me. The first time he willingly crawled onto my hand was a milestone. His tiny paws tickled my palm, his whiskers brushed against my fingers. It was a small act, but it felt like a huge declaration of friendship. From that day on, our bond grew stronger.
Pip began to associate my voice with treats and gentle pets.
He'd scurry to the cage door whenever I entered the room, standing on his hind legs, his little paws pressed against the bars, eager for attention. Pip was a creature of habit, an immense joy. His days were for sleeping, curled up into a perfect, fuzzy ball. But as dusk fell, his world came alive. The gentle worry of his wheel became the soundtrack to my evening. He would run for what seemed like miles, a tiny athlete training for a hamster marathon. Sometimes he'd run so fast he'd lose his footing and go for a comical tumble, only to shake it off and get right back on. Building forts for him was one of our favorite pastimes. I used cardboard boxers and toilet paper rolls to create intricate mazes and castles. Pip would explore every nook and cranny with unmatched enthusiasm. His greatest talent, however, was his ability to stuff his cheeks. It was a sight to behold. He could fit an unbelievable amount of food in those expandable pouches. Oh, baby carrot, no problem. Several peanuts, easy. He'd waddle around with his cheeks puffed out, looking like a furry little chipmunk, searching for the perfect spot to hide his treasures. I'd often find seeds stashed in the most unexpected places, like inside my slippers or tucked into the corner of this. But life with Pip wasn't just about funny moments and cute antics. He taught me so much about patience and appreciating the small things. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the rush. Pip's world was simple. His happiness came from a fresh piece of broccoli, a clean bed of shavings, or a new cardboard tube to chew on.
He reminded me to slow down and find joy in the present moment.
Watching him meticulously clean himself or painstakingly build his nest taught me about diligence and taking pride in your own little world. He was the master of his domain, and he took his responsibilities very seriously. Every night was an adventure, every meal a feast, every nap a well-deserved rest. He lived his life to the absolute fullest, with an energy and passion that was truly inspiring. As time went on, I started to notice subtle changes. The frantic energy of his youth began to mellow.
His nightly runs on the wheel became shorter.
He spent more time snoozing in his favorite fluffy hammock. His fur, once sleek and golden, started to show a few distinguished flecks of gray.
The vet confirmed what I already knew in my heart. My little friend was getting old.
The hamster lifespan is fleetingly short, a little over 2 years, on average. Knowing this from the start doesn't make it any easier. I cherished every moment we had left. Our time together became even more precious. I'd hold him more often. Letting him doze in the warm cup of my hands. I'd despoil him with his favorite treats and make sure his home was as comfortable as possible. He never lost his sweet spirit. Even on days when he was moving a little slower, his eyes still held that same curious spark I first saw in the pet store. He would still greet me at the cage door. Maybe not with a scurry, but with a gentle twitch of his nose. A quiet acknowledgment of our unbreakable bond. He was my tiny, wise old man. Then one quiet morning, Pip didn't wake up. He passed away peacefully in his sleep, curled up in the soft nest he had so carefully built. The silence in the room was deafening. The stillness of his wheel felt profound.
My heart ached with a sadness that felt far too big for such a small creature. It's strange, isn't it?
How something so tiny can leave such a massive hole in your life. In the days that followed, I found myself looking towards his empty cage, half expecting to see his little face peeking out. I missed the sound of his wheel, the rustling of his bedding, even finding his hidden stashes of seeds. I had only shared a small fraction of my life with him, but for him, I was his entire world. His whole lot, and he had made my world infinitely brighter. Pip's story is a reminder that love and impact aren't measured in size or lifespan. They're measured in moments of joy, in quiet companionship, and in the lessons we learn from one another. He taught me about responsibility, unconditional love, and the bittersweet beauty of a life lived with purpose. No matter how short he was, more than just a bed, he was a friend, a tawny furry, whisker-twitching, seed-hoarding, wheel-running. Marveled. His life was a brief but beautiful little epic, filled with adventure, comfort, and love. And I am so incredibly grateful that I got to be a part of it. Rest in peace, my little Pip. You'll forever be my hamster hero. Thank you all for listening to Pip's story today. It is a testament how even the smallest of creatures can leave the biggest paw prints on our hearts. If you've ever had a special pet that changed your life, I'd love to hear about them in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if it touched your heart and subscribe for more stories. Thank you for being here. We'll see you in the next one.